Behind the Frenzy, sponsored by the My Auto Group.
Hey, welcome in everyone to the Behind the Frenzy podcast. I'm Dean Holzwarth, along with my good buddy Andy McDonald, and we're back for week 5 of the high school football season. It continues to just roll by.
Sure does.
Let's look back at week 4 first. Obviously, some very good conference games. Obviously, some very good matchups. What did you kind of take from that week 4 in some of those teams?
Gosh, I mean, I don't know. There's a good amount of good games, but some of our spotlights were a little bit of blowouts. I think what I did take away is not trying to talk about my own high school too much. But Kennewa, I mean, 4-0, that's pretty crazy. That's like I mean, I know it was already 92 since they had went 3-0. I can't imagine what it was since they went 4-0. Right. So, yeah, they're obviously very impressive right now and a real story. Northview picked up another huge win. So I think that's another team that really needs to get more focus, and I think they're moving in the right direction over there to get that to be a program that sticks around for a while. But yeah, there's just a few other key points that we'll get to. But yeah, there definitely was a lot of good games, and I think that's like 4 weeks now where we've had pretty good weather all the way through. So that's always another thing to point to too. It makes it better for everybody. So
yeah, weather's been good. I actually took a trip up to Big Rapids, and obviously, you know, Big Rapids is kind of in our coverage area. Tri-County was trying to prove themselves a little bit up there, and unfortunately, it just wasn't a contest. Big Rapids kind of rolled them, got up early and kind of didn't let up. So Big Rapids is for real. They have a solid program, and I think someone was telling me their field there, their stadium. Have you been up there for that? Their high school field?
No, I have not.
They used to play at Ferris, and they got this like 2 or 3 years ago. It's really nice.
Oh, wow. I didn't know they had a new field.
Super impressed by
every time I've covered Big Rapids, it's been like in this area. So for the playoffs or something. So.
Yeah, it was very good. One thing we really want to talk about, which is it's kind of crazy to me, is Portage Central.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of realized this week that they're 4-0, you know. A lot of teams are 4-0, right?
For sure.
They've outscored their opponents 198-0.
That's insane.
Yep, they haven't given up. Andy, they haven't given up a point. Insane. 4 straight shutouts. Before I talk more about that, like, let me stop this real quick. So only one other team in the state of Michigan, Dearborn Divine Child, is undefeated as well, and they haven't given up a point.
Wow.
They've scored 172 points.
This is something we're going to have to keep tabs on.
172 points to 0. So Portage Central has a little bit of an edge on them. But how impressive is a team to go out and just post 4 shutouts to start the season?
I don't think it really matters like what level of football you're playing. If you don't allow points, that's pretty crazy. And that's like, I don't know like what the level of their opponent is or whatever. I don't think it really matters.
Portage Central played week 2, by the way.
Okay, yeah, that's extremely impressive. I mean, like it really doesn't matter. Like, I mean, you get a touchdown by accident sometimes. So not to crap the team's playing them too much, but that's insane. I mean, to not give up any points at that level is just super impressive. And I mean, I always knew Portage had a good program, but that's wow, that's impressive.
Their defense has scored more points. They had a pick 6 last week, so their defense has more points than all of their opponents combined.
That's insane.
Their coach over there is Mick Enders. He's in his 13th year over there. And Alec went out there and talked to him this week and talked to Charlie Gillick, their linebacker receiver. And you know, Charlie was talking about on the interview basically, hey, you know, it's super fun to shut out teams, right? And now they want to keep that streak going, right? There's a sense of pride now, like, hey, we want to go out and not let this team score any way possible. And obviously, coach was more like, hey, we're just focused on 1 week.
Yeah, for
we're not thinking about that. You know, our kids are playing well. Our seniors are stepping up. We have are setting the tone. Our young kids are stepping up, and so obviously he's saying all the right things. But
there's no way they're not thinking about giving up 0 points. Yeah, that's for sure. They're definitely thinking about giving up 0 points.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it continues. They have homecoming this week against Madawan. Okay, Madawan's kind of struggled a little bit. So I won't be surprised if we come back here next Tuesday and.
We got to keep tabs on it until it changes. I mean, again, that's something I don't believe that could last that long, but I don't know. Maybe it will. It's already gone 4 weeks. Why can't it go 9? Who knows?
Yeah, yep, 100%. So just great defense by them. Okay, let's talk about some of the spotlight games coming up this week. I think the big one, and we'll talk about a lot about this actually, it was Rockford at Granville. So unfortunately for Granville, Jaden Tank Terry suffered an injury, knee injury on their first drive last week against Caledonia. Was going for a touchdown, kind of got rolled up a little bit from what I've heard from people. He was seen on crutches. MRI was scheduled for this week to kind of talk about or find out the extent of the injury, but how much of a loss is that for the Granville?
It's huge. That's what they lean on. I mean, that's like that. If they don't have Tank Terry, that's a big deal for them. I mean, I'm sure for the like everybody around that program in school, it's like, oh my gosh, just one of those kind of moments. Because it's like everybody's part of a team, and what makes high school football so special is just like having that team mentality. But there are the players that do stick out, especially at this level. Yeah. In our area, when you get kids that have offers to play at a D1 school like that, it's always noticeable. Yeah. And he's definitely a difference maker. I mean, just what they were able to do when they played against Cass Tech, that was one of those things where it was like you got to have guys like that, to compete with teams like that. Yeah. So that'd be a massive loss for Granville. I don't think it means that their season is like over, but it definitely would be, if they don't have him for the rest of the year, that definitely is going to put a damper on probably what could have been at some point. You would think that's tough to overcome.
Yeah, and especially against your rival Rockford.
Yeah,
obviously had a big win against East Kentwood. I will tell you, just some guys from Granville who kind of picked up the slack was Braylon Haney and DJ Hardiman. And DJ Hardiman's kind of like a Jameer Gibbs type. Like he's had some really good highlight touchdown runs this year. So I think those guys can do a notable job of picking up the slack, for Terry. And the Granville defense has been really good this year. She only gave up 7 points last week against Caledonia.
For sure. Rockford's had a schedule this year. It's been pretty tough in itself. And they got another big win last week, which I think we're going to go over some of those games here in a little bit that happened last week. Yeah. But that's right now. I think Rockford is playing as good as they could be going in this game. Obviously, Granville has that huge, mentally another huge blow. Like they have that tough loss against Cass Tech and come back and prove they can win. And then you lose probably one of your captains and, one of your best players.
Yeah, on both sides of the ball. So we talked about his offense, right? He plays a majority of the snaps on defense.
It's truly going to test them. Like it's going to test them fully to come out there and even compete in this game and have a chance to win it for sure.
Yep. Rockford, their defense was really good against East Kentwood. They pull out a 21-14 win against Kentwood. Yeah. Kind of listening to that on the radio as I was coming back from Big Rapids. I think it was East Kentwood had 2 drives. Or they got to within the Rockford 15-yard line, couldn't punch it in. Rockford had a huge 4th down stop at the goal line to kind of preserve that victory. So what's that do for Rockford? Obviously going forward, just to have a big win against a really good offense like East Kentwood and limit them to 14 points.
Yeah, no, everything that I've heard about that game was that it just was like that competitive all the way through. And I think even though East Kentwood lost this game, I don't think it takes away from the fact that they are like they're there now. Like they're going to be a team that we're going to be hearing about as long as the same coaching staff stays in place. Like they are going to be around for a while and going to be competitive for sure. But again, a lot of credit to Rockford to be able to get the win, kind of keep being the program that they are. That's why they earn the name that they have, because they find a way to win these games even when they're in close games. Yeah. So it's why you've come to expect what you get from them every single season. But it's impressive to hold an East Kentwood offense that's been so good so far this year. It's only 14 points in general. So it's a very impressive win for Rockford, and again puts them on a high note going into this week.
Yeah, do you think Rockford has any motivation for this week since Granville beat them in the first game
they're not going to feel bad about anything, that's for sure. I think they definitely have a lot of
Granville, right? Yeah. They're not going to feel bad if Tank can't play. They're not going to feel bad about it.
No. I mean, I'm sure their shoulder pads will probably be more intact after the game and everything else, trying to make tackles against them. But I mean, I think at the same time though, like when you're a player, you obviously never want to see anybody get hurt. Yeah. And I think that they do like to probably put themselves against the best competition possible. So it's not, I don't think that players think about it in that way. It's not really that kind of psyche. Yeah. So like for us, it's easy to say like, well, that's a huge loss. And I don't think that they don't acknowledge that. But I think that they definitely would rather beat them with their best guy than have to do it without him.
I think there is there is a rivalry, long-time rivalry between these guys, but I think there's a mutual respect too.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
All right, Cedar Springs at Lowell. Lowell, I don't know if Lowell's surprising or not to be 4-0. But they've been playing well. This is the Pink Arrow game, so obviously raising money for cancer awareness. Yep. Always, a great community event in the city of Lowell. Raises, like I said, a lot of money. A lot of people come out, and their Red Arrows are doing really, really well this year.
Yeah, for sure. No, Lowell's on it. It's kind of the question, like, are they back? I mean, like, this game used to be a huge game, I remember, every single year when I was growing up, and it's kind of cool to see it be in that kind of light again. Obviously, Cedar Springs is kind of coming to bounce back off of the loss to Kennewa. They put up 35 points, but they allowed 49. The way the way that Lowell's been able to play so far this season, their offense has been better than any I remember in recent memory. So if they got a lot to work on in a 1 week's time to try to fix that and turn it around. So it's definitely going to be an interesting game. I think I would take Lowell the way that the path that they've been on right now and where they're kind of at mentally, but you never know. I mean, Cedar Springs could turn that negative energy into something positive this week and maybe pull something off.
Yep, I kind of agree with you. I'm going to take Lowell in that game as well. Obviously they went 8-4 last year. They won, I think, 6 of their last 7 games last year. So just kind of building off what they did last year.
Yeah, for sure.
I think one team we haven't talked about a lot is Todd Colster and the Catholic Central. Catholic Central Cougars, and we really haven't talked much, and I think maybe we should. They are obviously in first place in their conference, and they go to Middleville this week. Middleville's a team, if you remember week 1, I watched them lose on basically a walk-off field goal, and since then they've won 3 in a row. So they're 3-1 right now. Catholic Central's 4-0. Your thoughts about this game?
Yeah, I mean, Catholic Central hasn't had the offensive numbers, I guess, so far this season that we're used to seeing. And I think last year they kind of took a dip in that direction, too, when they had a little bit of a surprising year for some people until it came to the playoffs. They obviously had the crazy win they did against West. But, yeah, no, it's one of those things for them. Like, we've seen so much good from them that it feels weird when they don't put up this many points, but they schedule hard teams. Like that, I mean, they haven't had the easiest schedule going to this point. Thornapple Kellogg has had a schedule that's a little more favorable. So I think for Thornapple Kellogg, this is like the kind of game where if you can go out and beat one of these Blue Bloods that are always good in this area every single year, it's huge for them. For Catholic Central, this is just a furthermore like, we're still good. Don't forget it kind of thing. Stay undefeated. Get back on that path. Because obviously last year, we were talking about them beginning the season like, oh boy, a couple losses. Like, what's going on with them? Now this year they're starting off on this way against some good teams. So it doesn't surprise me that Todd's got his team going in the right direction. But I think that we'll be talking about them more as the season goes along if they can keep stacking these wins. That's for sure. Yeah,
I definitely don't think they're happy with their 5 losses last year. First time since I think 2009 that they had at least 5 losses in a season. So obviously they had something I think to prove this year. And you're right, they played 2 out-of-state teams.
It takes a lot. I mean, like in high school to turn it around when you lose games like that the year before to just change it and maybe revert back to again. This is only going into their 4th game, I believe. I think
week 5
is Catholic.
So they've had 4. Okay, they've had 2 they played 2 out-of-state teams. They had a big win against Jackson Lumen Christi, and then they won last week against East Grand Rapids, which 10-7.
Yeah, for sure.
That was a hard-fought win last week.
No doubt.
It wasn't easy.
I mean, to be at 4-0 though. I mean, like we're only 4 weeks in. I don't want to say like they're just going to go undefeated. Is what I was kind of getting at either way.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But no, for sure. This is definitely one of those wins to just kind of keep it going in that direction to like say that we're that good again. And any game against East Grand Rapids is usually never an easy one to play. So either way, they get a lot of credit for winning that game. But I think they'd like to see a few more points than 10 on the board this week. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So those are our spotlight games. I think one more team I want to talk about is Unity Christian. They were one of our spotlight games last week against
Zeeland
East, and they proved they're pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. I think this might be one of Unity's better teams in a while with the totals.
Balanced.
It's crazy, man. Like some of the highlights I've been seeing, they look very impressive so far, and I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to get out to one of their games sooner or later here because I haven't got to yet this year. But they've definitely been impressive in my book. And I mean, again, that's what they do. Offense is like kind of just their thing. They've had these defenses that are good too, but it's just like I always think about when I think about Unity Christian, I think I'm going to go to a game and get a touchdown in like 2 seconds. They score points so fast. They've done it that way my entire time of covering high school football here, and it's just another one of those teams. It feels like this year, but maybe they got a little bit more juice. Who knows? Yeah, definitely. All right, well, Andy, thanks a lot. Obviously, another great week that we're going to have here on the Behind the Frenzy podcast, and lots of games we're going to get out to. Weather's supposed to be good, so we'll see you guys next week. For sure.